Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers with another running shoe review. In this video, we are going to be talking about the Inov-8 G Trailfly 270 V2. Let's dive in. The Inov-8 Trailfly G 270 V2 costs £150 or $170. It weighs in at 255 grams or 9 ounces for men in the size 8. The drop is 0mm and the lugs are 4mm. The original Trailfly G 270 was a hugely popular shoe for trail runners looking for a bit of everything. The updated V2 sees some modifications to design, but largely sticks to the tried and tested original. Those updates include a redesigned upper for more stretch and breathability in the forefoot, an improved ankle cut with extra heel padding for increased comfort, and a new slimline tongue to provide a better fit. The modified lightweight upper is also built to be 25% more durable than the previous version. The rest of the shoe remains largely the same, combining a Powerflow Max midsole foam for comfort, a softer Boomerang footbed, and Inov-8's consistently impressive Graphene-enhanced G-GRIP rubber outsole.
So when it comes to fit, I'd recommend going true to size. I ran in a UK 8.5, which is my size, and I found the overall comfort and hold spot on. There's good step-in comfort with balanced heel and tongue padding, and I think there's ample wiggle room in the toe box. Crucially, there's enough space up front here and across the top to prevent any kind of bashing on the kind of steep descents that you might do. I found it easy to get a good snug hold across the midfoot without any lace pinch, and there were no blisters or hot spots on my 2-hour-long run tests. If anything, these shoes happily ticks the box of a shoe that disappears on the foot, and they're the kind of shoe that I would definitely consider using for longer ultras on the trails. Okay,
fit for me in this shoe is true to size. I found it to be a very comfortable shoe. Definitely wouldn't size up or down in it. So this is the first time I've actually used the Trailfly range. I know the other guys have tested a previous version out and really liked it. I've not used an Inov-8 shoe for quite a while actually. I've used some of the Trailclaw shoes where they're a bit more aggressive, a bit more designed for thick mud than something like this, which is more of a versatile shoe. It's a shoe that I found you can use for loads of different runs. It's really, really comfortable to use from road to trail, but I've used it across the downs as well. So I think the main run that I've done in this to talk about is a 28k run across the South Downs, which included various sections, fields, rocky paths, more muddy paths as well, and a bit of road. And it was sort of could deal with all of it. It was really nice. That midsole foam is very comfortable. It's nicely soft when you're running on the road, and I think I could probably run 10k in this on the road and I'd be completely fine with it. It just feels very, very comfortable for those sections. But it's not too soft. So I always say when it comes to trail shoes, if the midsole's too soft, it sort of loses the quality of it when you're out running over the softer bits, like the muddy grass in the fields. But this isn't too soft. So when you're out running across the fields and things like that, it doesn't feel like you've got the softness of this and the softness of the field ground, making it really slow and clumpy. It feels quite fast over that terrain, and it does feel like it feels very lightweight, this shoe. I really easily could pick up a nice pace, especially when going downhill. I just felt like it was a really fast shoe to run in. It was really, really comfortable, and yeah, really enjoyed it across that big run on the South Downs. Also, when I was running uphill, I found that it just had a really nice pickup, and I could turn over quite quickly, whereas some of my other trail shoes that are a little bit clunkier, I don't really like running uphill in them because it just feels like you're lugging a big shoe on your feet all the way uphill. But these just feel so light and nippy that it's such an enjoyable shoe to run in. They're just a really balanced shoe. I think you can pretty much do anything in them. The outsole is this graphene grip outsole, which most people will know Inov-8 for. Is just fantastic. It just grips that really well. It's probably one of the best grips I've ever seen on a trail shoe, and it's just really solid and durable. But the other thing about it is as well is that when you're running over those road sections, so if sometimes with trail shoes, when the outsole is aggressive on those shoes, when you're running on harder sections, it's not very comfortable because it just feels like you're sort of running along the floor with these hard plastic lugs on them. These are actually quite soft. So when you're out running on the road or harder sections, you don't really think about the outsole lugs on it. They don't feel uncomfortable. And as I say, I could probably run 10k on the road on this, and I think I'd be fine with it. It's very, very comfortable to run on hard, compact surfaces. Other stuff about the shoe is the upper is very comfortable. Didn't have any issues with it at all. There's quite a nice bit of padding around the shoe, but not too much. And the lighter tongue section is quite thin, but it does have enough padding on it to really feel like the shoe is moderately plush, but still being lightweight as well. So yeah, I've just really enjoyed training in this shoe. I think it's a great all-round shoe. I'm a convert to the Trailfly range now. The first time I've tried it, I think it's just a really nice, great option, which can, for most people, would tick off most of the things they want to do out on the trails. I'd probably say that it could handle wet mud. I didn't run on wet mud on it, but the lugs on it and the grip, plenty of it on there to deal with softer surfaces like wet surfaces. But I would probably say that there are shoes that you might want to go for more aggressive lugs on, like something like the Salomon Speed Cross range, something like that. But other than that, very successful testing out on the trails.
So for my run test then, I've done more than 30 miles in this shoe, and that includes some 2+ hour long run tests. Now that's been on a mixture of terrain, including road to trail, compacted river paths, rolling forest trails, wet and muddy fields, and steep and narrow twisting coastal paths. I've done it in dry and wet conditions, and the only thing I've not really done is taken them to those kind of steep mountain trails. Now I first tested this shoe without looking at the spec sheet, and my immediate reaction was that this feels just like the Trailfly G270 version 1. And I think if you really like that shoe, then you're going to absolutely love this shoe as well, because pretty much it's exactly the same, just with a few tweaks that are actually key improvements. Comfort-wise, I think the extra flex in the uppers makes for a bit more of a roomy fit. I think the reworked tongues and the nice kind of padded collar makes for a good kind of cradled feel in the shoe as well. Nice comfort with no lace pinch. Now, just like the original shoe, this runs like an Inov-8 shoe. It's pretty direct, it's pretty firm. You'll notice that zero drop if you're not used to running in a zero drop. And if you're a big fan of the softer, more cushioned shoes like the New Balance Aero V7 or even the North Face Vective Pro, those things that are adding a little bit more squish to our trail shoes, then this might not be for you. But if you're a fan of the kind of more ground contact feel, a more direct feel, then this shoe is definitely going to be one that you will like. It's definitely something that I enjoy. I look for a kind of directness and a ground contact in a shoe, particularly in a trail shoe, and I think this has it in bucket loads. Now, as a road to trail option, I think you definitely notice that kind of firmness if you're doing that first stretch on a road before you hit the trail, or you're on sort of harder compacted trails. They coped well with those sections, but they really came into their own when they hit those softer trails that are probably more the natural habitat for this shoe. All you really get, as far as I'm concerned, is an excellent balance of kind of speed and just the right amount of cushioning and protection. You know, I think they're nimble, they're light, they've got a hint of road shoe agility, and all paired with that really good, excellent high grip outsole that I think does a sterling job pretty much on most things that I threw at it. Though I didn't really run on anything particularly sort of crazy stony or rooty, I think these flex grooves work really well to kind of flex with the foot and swallow lumps and bumps underfoot really nicely, but still give you that feeling of being in control. You know, there's decent stability, and I had good confidence every time I put my foot down in this shoe. Now, talking about that grip again, it's excellent. The only place that it really struggled for me was when I went into the kind of, really sloppy mud that those lugs just aren't going to cope with, and very few shoes would. But for most other things where it wasn't really sort of sloppy mud, it did really well. We're talking about slippery rocks, talking about kind of wet sort of tree roots, or sort of softer trail mud that's quite compacted but still a bit loose. Also on the grass it was good, and overall you've just got really good reliable grip that you can trust. And in addition, that graphene infused kind of rubber and the midsole, this is a shoe that's built to last. Inov-8 shoes are really robust, and this doesn't stray at all from that path. This is a shoe that I know you're going to be able to get lots and lots of miles out. I reckon you'll get north of 500 miles out of this shoe, if not more. So for me on the run test, I really enjoyed this. 2.5 hours into runs, I was still happy with the shoe on my foot. And this is definitely a shoe that I think copes well with short road to trail. I think it copes with short and fast kind of trail excursions. And it's a shoe that I think you'd happily take to do rolling trail ultras in as well.
So my verdict on the Inov-8 Trailfly G270 V2 is it's great. It's a great shoe. It's just a solid all-round trail shoe that you can run fast in because it feels lightweight, it feels durable, it feels solid, and that midsole foam is just great in it. So I think this is a fantastic option for anyone that's looking for a general use trail shoe, but that can handle a lot of stuff. It doesn't, for me, fit into a specific area. It's not like a really aggressive mud trail shoe. It's not a really general road to trail shoe. It just ticks a lot of boxes. I really like this. I think this is probably going to be my top choice as a trail shoe for most of the trails that I do. And I'm the sort of runner that I don't go out on the trail loads, but when I do, I can go across a lot of different terrain, and I don't want to be using loads of different trail shoes for the different runs I'm doing. I just want one pair that I can take with me and know that it can handle most of it. And I think this can. I think it's a great general use, but excels in lots of areas, trail shoe.
So my verdict then, well, I think Inov-8 played a really smart game with the updates to the Trailfly G270. Everything we loved about the first generation remains: the excellent grip, the good durability, the light, speedy, agile ride, the balanced and stable cushioning. In fact, it feels like you're running in the same shoe, but for some subtle tweaks to the uppers that really edge the comfort up a notch or two. You know, this is evolution, not revolution. I think if you love the first gen, then you've got to really like this shoe. That said, if you own the first generation already and they're not dead, they're still going, I don't think there's really any reason necessarily to upgrade, because the changes are small and subtle, but when the time comes, definitely move up. But overall, a winning trail shoe for me, and one that I will definitely be using in the future.
Okay, so that's it from us on the Trailfly G270 V2. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell, all that sort of stuff, and check the channel out for all the other videos we've got. Latest road and trail shoes, as well as running headphones, watches out at the moment. And if you go into the caption below, you can find a link to our podcast, which you can listen to at the end of each month. And the most recent one we've done, we talk about running shoe rotations. So if you listen to that and you enjoy it, please leave us a message, rating, and hopefully other people can find it as well. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.